So I was just watching Eric Orwoll's video on art and virtue, and I like the way he was, I think, really penetrating to, um, you know, an insightful perspective on what it means to try to be a meaning-making creature in our day and age. It's not easy to make meaning anymore. Certainly we don't have the assurances of religion anymore. We live in a modern age that supposedly is guided by science, but even there, it seems as if we're almost beyond the modern as well. We're postmodern in that even science has proven itself to be without intrinsic value, in the way that earlier Enlightenment societies maybe supposed that through science and rationality and the sort of technological mastering of nature, external nature and internal human nature, through that sort of a mastery brought about by science, we were going to achieve a better society, greater happiness for a greater number of people. But of course this hasn't happened, and so even science has become difficult for us to believe in. We can't really orient our civilization around science because science and technology have given us, the polio vaccination, and the air conditioning and the combustion engine, but it's also given us the atom bomb. It's given us global climate change, mass extinction. So, the value of science and technology, pure science and technology, if we're to give it a value and trace the role that it's played in the course of human history, I think we'll see that the case is decidedly mixed about, the virtues of science. Science itself does not seem to be enough, and just like religion now, we're forced to turn elsewhere for moral guidance, no longer to the God of religion or to the, mechanical, masterable, natural world of science, but we have to find some other way of making meaning beyond religion, beyond science. And really, I think this isn't necessarily a new way of thinking that we need to create. It's an ancient way of thinking as well, and I would just call it philosophy. And if we're going to be really accurate here, I think we have to say that philosophy evolved out of, what for the ancient Greeks say was both an art and a science. For them, poetry and drama were the sort of cultural foundations. And there was astronomy, basic biological taxonomy, and metaphysics, but all of this was understood in the context of a sort of mythic, imaginative background. So in all of Plato's writings, you have discursive, dialectical, logical argumentation, proof and refutation, but you also have myth and story and visionary experience that contextualizes the logic and gives it a certain contextual place in the ongoing activity of life and genesis of the cosmos. Plato wasn't a formulaic thinker. He didn't have doctrines. He had dialogue partners. He had dramatic performances of a philosophical truth. He recognized very clearly that truth must be conveyed, and that part of truth's essential nature is that conveyance, that communication, that expression. Without expression, truth has no meaning, no value, right? So, really, I think what we need in this age when both religion and science have kind of failed us, at least as the ultimate guides for our civilized activity, we need to turn to philosophy, to a love of wisdom, which I think orients us in a more virtuous way to the universe, to other people, and to the divine. I think the work of philosophy is to remember what, society, what common sense has forgotten. Philosophy is a work of anamnesis, of remembrance, where, when the philosopher looks at history, it seems more like a series of forgettings, a loss, a fall, and the philosopher's attempt in stepping out of society or social consciousness is to try to arrive at some deeper truth hidden in their soul, and so by proxy hidden in every person's soul. Every person is potentially a philosopher, at least if they genuinely enter into a path of learning like that, they will become a philosopher. I think this means that what we need is a kind of democratization of the philosophical impulse, which really just means, instead of economics or militarism or technology or science or religion being the focus of our civilization, education, learning in general should be the focus of our civilization, which means, art as well as science, in the sense that, philosophy, like all knowledge, needs to be taught in the context of the art which produces it. Knowledge is a work, a product that needs to be produced. It's a work of art, and it has a creator, and its survival through the course of human history is, it requires a continual acts of creativity from each of us, the students of the world. So I think, we need a philosophical reorientation, and we have a tradition right here in the West that I think is capable of reminding us of that orientation, like German idealism, particularly Friedrich Schelling, Hegel, Kant. Really, like, we need to begin with the German idealists, I think, if we want to think our way into whatever capitalism is, whatever postmodernism is, whatever art is, whatever science is. The German idealists they set the bar pretty high, and much of what passes for science and philosophy or thought today, I think, fails to remember properly what actually was achieved by these thinkers. So, thanks, Eric, for your videos. I find them very interesting. Keep making them. Later.